Hi, Peg Keogh here from College Aid Pro. Today we're going to talk about the Federal Student Aid ID, otherwise known as the FSA ID. What is this ID and why do you need to get it? It is needed to submit your FAFSA, which is the free application for federal student aid. It's the financial aid form that most schools in the country require. Most schools only require the FAFSA. There's other schools that require another form as well. So you need to get this FSA ID in order to electronically file this form, which is what most people do. It's very rare to send it in paper form anymore. So if you have a rising senior, a child that's about to start their senior year in high school, you're going to want to get this FSA ID and get it out of the way. So as I said, it is used to electronically sign the form. Who needs to get this ID? The student needs to get it that's applying for college, as well as a parent. So if the parents are married, one parent needs to get the ID, and that's going to be the parent that will use it to electronically submit the form. If your family is divorced, then the parent that is submitting the FAFSA with the student is the parent that needs to get the FSA ID. So one parent's going to submit to get the ID, and then the student that's applying for college is going to submit it. When is this ID used? It is used to electronically submit this form, as I said. So when you get to the end of the FAFSA, before you can submit it, the form is going to ask you for the FSA ID of the student and the FSA ID of the parent that has it. So you're going to need to have that in place in order to submit the FAFSA. The student can also use the FSA ID to actually sign into their FAFSA. They don't have to, but they can use it to sign into their FAFSA. But you definitely need it to electronically file the form. And again, both the parent and the student needs it. So if you have a rising senior, now's the time to go ahead and get that done. What'll happen is you'll create the username and password, and then there'll be some security questions that you'll need to create, very similar to other websites. But there is a processing time after you submit it, where the government is checking the information that you submit. So you don't want to wait till the last minute to do this. And that's the FSA ID.